Hello and welcome to our Betfred Sports Talk here at the Quest Media Network Studios. I'm Lewis and I'm joined by Peter Spencer from Betfred. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great. Very busy last few days.
I believe so. Firstly, we'll start off with the Champions League. City away at Madrid tonight. Have you got any odds for us for that one?
Yeah, well, we do think City, this is their year, and that they'll go on and win the Champions League, which is the holy grail as far as the Abu Dhabi owners are at City. That's why they took over the club and why they appointed Guardiola, who's got the reputation of being one of the best, if not the best, managers in the world. So they paid out fortunes and now they want the payback. They're playing Real Madrid in the first leg of the semi-final at the Bernabeu tonight. And City go into that as the favourites with Betfred to go on and win it. To score the first goal, well, no guesses there. It's Haaland 5-2 with Betfred to score the first goal. Benzema, who just keeps popping them in for Real Madrid, he's 4-1. Haaland is 5-2 with Betfred. Gundogan, who's having a great season. Some people think it could be his last season at the Etihad. He's 11-1 to score the first goal. Jack Grealish, another player who's proven himself invaluable to Guardiola nowadays. He's 11-1 to score the first goal. We've got Mahrez at 7-1 if he starts. De Bruyne 9-1. And if you think it's going to be Haaland's night, well, he's 16-1 for a hat-trick. And the most popular scoreline bet with Betfred is for City to win 2-0 at the Bernabeu, which is 11-1 shot.
And moving on to the Premier League, City winning again. Arsenal winning as well, but they are still behind the league leader City. How does that affect the title odds in the Premier League?
Well, Betfred have City 1-14. Remember, we paid out already on City, but still taking bets on them. 1-14 to go on and win the title. Arsenal 8-1. It's looking like Arsenal are running out of games now to overtake City. For a top four finish, Betfred have Newcastle, Manchester United 1-4, Newcastle 1-8. They're favourites to secure a top four finish. But Liverpool are the big movers now. They're 2-1, catching up with the two Uniteds in third and fourth place. And Brighton, they're 12-1. They just carry on playing so excellently.
And touching on the relegation odds, Leicester losing at the weekend, Forest and Everton both winning. How does that affect the relegation
Well, Betfred
odds?
have Southampton, Leeds and Leicester all odds on to be relegated. They're the bottom three at the moment. You can tell by the form that these teams are showing. Leicester beaten convincingly. Southampton struggling again. Everton, they've pulled 2 points clear of the bottom three now. So some people think they're looking safe. Certainly the odds indicate that.
And moving on to the Betfred Super League, there was a lot of big games. A bit of a shock result for Wigan at Hull FC, and Warrington going back to the top of the table.
Yeah, well, surprisingly, we've still got St Helens 9-4 favourites to win the grand final. I say surprisingly because they've dipped down to 7th place in the table. I've never known St Helens be so low in the Betfred Super League table. But they're still favourites to go and win the grand final because, of course, it will be the top six who compete with each other until we get to the final. They were beaten quite seriously in France against Castellan Dragons, despite taking the lead early on with 2 tries from Walmsley and Wellesby. But they struggled. They're just trying to do too much instead of getting back to basics, and ended up losing that game. Wigan also lost. They're the second favourites at 5-2. Betfred have St Helens 9-4 to go on and win the grand final for the 5th time in successive years. Warrington still third favourites, 11-4, even though they've gone top of the table with a less than convincing victory against bottom club Wakefield, who had 1 player sent off. Castellan's still in there at 4th favourites at 10-1. So it's looking quite a few changes on the pitch, but the odds aren't changing too much at this early stage of the season.
And we've got quite a few big winners from this weekend. We've got 3 actually. The first one being a beekeeper who had a £5 accumulator on and won £46,000.
Yeah, this guy beat odds of 9,199 to 1. It was an unusual bet in that he bet on Concord Rangers and Harvard Waterlooville. He backed one team to be winning at half time and the other team to overcome that deficit and win the game. And the odds for that were 19 to 1. It was an accumulator bet, £5 accumulator that won him 46,000. His second and third legs of his accumulator were both Spanish teams, Valencia, Villarreal in Espanol. And they came in as well, obviously, and won him £46,000. So I interviewed this fella, and he lives in Yorkshire, and he's been telling me how. I'll tell you his name first. He is Barry Windle, age 58. He was a miner, then a steel worker, and he nowadays works on his allotment as well, having a regular bet with Betfred at our Browning Road shop in Rotherham, and he's had his best ever win. I asked him how long it took him to make the selection. He says about 30 minutes. He said they weren't random. He knows these teams. He's studies the form and thought this bet might come in. He's a kindly fella in that he grows vegetables in his allotment. He grows too much and gives it out to people on the street, old people on the street, he tells me, and neighbours. He also, as you say, is a beekeeper, and he's had a record year for honey. 122 jars he made, or bees made. He sells that off at £5 a jar. And with his money, he's thinking of going to the Panama Canal with his family. He's always fancied going down that, and that's what he's intending to do.
Sounds like a very, very deserving winner.
Yeah, excellent. Great when people like him win.
And the second winner of last week, it was an £18 bet, and he's predicted that the winners of all of the top 5 English divisions, apart from the Premier League.
That's right. Well, the Premier League hasn't been decided yet, but of the other 4 divisions, i.e. the Championship, First and Second Division, and the National League, he predicted the winners of each of those 4 leagues: Burnley, Plymouth, Leyton Orient, and Wrexham. Wrexham were the shortest odds; they were 4 to 7, but the other teams were 4 to 1, 6 to 1, 4 to 1. He had an £18 each way bet, and it's netted him just over £5,000. He's a fella from London, and so well done to him.
And the final winner won £21,000 from a 35p bet.
Yeah, this fellow was on he switched to the Nifty 50 from the 49's numbers game, and he picked his 5 numbers, they all came up, picked them at random about a year ago, and he was so taken aback by the coronation and all the focus on London, of course, that he's going to use his money for a trip to London because he's forgotten how good it was there.
Very nice. Thank you, Peter. And if you do fancy a bet, you can bet online, on the app, or in Betfred stores.